Welcome into Training Camp Report 2024 presented by Advent Health. Casey Phillips here with senior writer and editor Scott Smith, and we are so excited to be here. Day one, another year of camp. Also, selfishly, this is my 10th camp. I feel like it's a big one, 10 years.
I've been there 10
You got a few on me.
I was walking past the locker room yesterday after the veterans had reported, and standing outside looking at something on the wall was Will Golston. I'm thinking, that guy's been through a lot of camps.
He's been through a lot of camps.
You wouldn't believe the moments later, the guy who walked out of the locker room was Levante David, and went up and started talking to him. Our two longest tenured players. They've been through, I think, 23 camps combined.
That's
and
incredible.
They still look chipper and ready to go.
They do, and I mean, everyone is. As soon as they blew that air horn to start practice, you heard everybody yelling, screaming. There was some whooping, which you love, even in the heat and humidity.
Wonder how they'll feel 10 days from now.
Yeah, that is very true. Well, let's go ahead and start by just talking about the ramp up of camp, of kind of what this looks like, what are the different practices, and what the process looks like for getting the guys back into it.
Yeah, and this is mandated by the NFL. They have to do it this way. So as you said, they ramp it up. This first practice today will be 90 minutes. They're only in helmets. You can see there they don't have pads on. They won't have pads on tomorrow either. And then on the third day, they'll put on spiders, which are basically like lighter, thinner shoulder pads. And then day 5 is the first day that they'll go to full pads, first day all year, because they couldn't do that during the off-season program. And by that point, the practices will be 120 minutes long. So it goes up a little bit, like 15 minutes each day.
Okay. And then I know also one of the big things that happens that's maybe not the most exciting, but ends up being newsworthy is just when everybody shows up. That's when you see, are all 90 guys here? Are all 90 guys healthy? So what did we learn in report day yesterday for everybody?
The rookies reported on Monday, and they were all here, and the veterans reported yesterday, and we have 90 players in camp, but the roster has 91 because we get one extra exemption for Lorenz Metz, who's in the International Pathway Program, and so that means one person isn't here, and that's Randy Gregory. He did not report to camp yesterday, and he was subsequently put on the reserve did not report list, so therefore that's another roster spot that could be filled, or at some point I guess he could report. I think we'll probably hear today after practice from Coach if they have any information as to why, but he didn't report to the mandatory minicamp in the offseason program either, so it's a little bit concerning, I guess.
Yeah, that's very true. And then also, again, the health part is a big part of it. They go through physicals when they get here for camp, and you have a sense on how everybody's doing physically at this point. So what do we know?
Yeah, I think the Bucs ought to be really, really happy about where they are. There'll be 88 guys practicing today. The only two who aren't are first-year tight end Tanner Towla and rookie quarterback and undrafted free agent Zach Anixtad. They both were put on the active NFI, non-football injury list yesterday, which means they got an injury in some way other than being here on the practice game or in a game with the Buccaneers. For instance, Zach, I believe, has a shoulder injury he suffered at the end of his last year in college at Illinois State, and he's not yet returned from that. But active NFI means they still do count against the roster, and they can be activated at any point. So the only reason to put them on there is it gives you the opportunity, if they're still not ready by the start of the regular season, they can go on reserve NFI. So they could return to practice at any point. So that's a really good start. At the end of the offseason program, Coach Bowles said he thought the only guy who might go on PUP is tight end O'Keefe, and he didn't. So that's really good news. He's practicing for the first time since last season.
That's great, for sure. And then, of course, that's kind of a lot of the business part of what starts here at training camp. But let's get into some of the fun storylines that we're going to talk about. And I know later in the show we're going to get into some of the different position battles, because that's always the most fun part of camp, is either who's going to start or who's going to make the team. But for now, let's start, of course, with Baker Mayfield, where everything always has to start, right? And I was just thinking, man, what a different feel it must have for him this year. Of last year, there's a battle, it's his first year, it's another new team, another, everything being new. And now here he is, the cemented guy that he's, you see him out there on some of these big marketing campaigns the Bucs are doing. He's the guy.
He's the guy, as well he should be. And he's said enough in various points through the last year that he really feels comfortable here. Obviously, it's awesome that he's in the same camp for the second year in a row and is under contract for several more years after that, and he's not battling for a job. Now, probably last year he was probably excited and energized by that battle with Kyle Trask. So, but this is a different year, but there's a different sort of challenge for him now, because he did earn that long-term contract. He did allow the Buccaneers to surprise a lot of people, but there's still not a lot of national belief in the Bucs going into this year, and I'm sure Baker would, like the rest of them, want to prove that wrong. And also, he was speaking at a camp the other day, and you could tell by looking at him, but also he said he's in the best shape he's been in a long time.
Yeah, we got svelte Baker Mayfield now.
So, obviously he feels good about that, so maybe that makes him, I don't know, even better on the run. We'll see.
Yeah, and it made me laugh at the clip that went so viral for him last year of "Get your weight up,"
Yeah,
son,
I know,
and
right?
he lost weight. I was like, I don't know if he's going to be able to use that
They're gonna yell it back at him
that
now.
same line this year for sure. All right, well, and quickly we'll kind of talk about the fact that even though he is returning, it is another new offensive coordinator for him, another new offensive scheme. What do we know at this point? I'm sure that's going to be a big part of what we look at in camp. We don't want to, we're not going to be able to give away things, but what do we know at this point about what a Liam Cohen offense might look like?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Obviously, he comes kind of through the Rams pipeline with Sean McVay, that type of offense. I'm not suggesting that we're going to run the same exact offense that the Rams ran when he was there, and there have been some changes to their system too, and I'm sure he'll have tweaks to his. But we do know some things from the things that he said. We're probably going to see a lot more 11 personnel, which is 3 receivers and 1 tight end. In fact, if he does it like they did in LA, it's almost going to be exclusively that. They run like 97% of their plays out of that. There'll be a little more under center. He says there's going to be a lot more variety in the running game. Getting the running game going is his top priority. He said it several times, and one of the ways he's going to do that is try to use more variety, because he says these defenses nowadays are too good. You just can't beat them with 1 or 2 things. You've got to do mid-zone, wide zone, gaps with pullers, duo, all these different types of runs, perimeter runs. So we should see that, and also more play call options in the huddle for Baker Mayfield.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, and then we will be back with Bucs legend Dexter Jackson. So we'll see you in a few minutes.
You go through stuff. Not just in football, but in life. The thing is, you can be in the driver's seat 1 minute, and after a couple of dead ends,
Who's going to want to take Baker?
you're just trying to find the way.
And where's he going to go that's worth the damn anyway?
And after all the ups and downs, all the sacrifices made,
Baker went and he balled out.
so much of my story has been about those who didn't believe. But not today. This is about a team that embraced me. A crew that lifted me up. I've been called every name in the book.
This year's Heisman Trophy winner. Baker Mayfield putting him on his back.
But now, you can call me a Buccaneer.
First and 10. Oh, it's caught. Deep. He's got it. Mike Evans. Mayfield loading up downfield. He connects. Touchdown. And he lets him hear about it. What touchdown, Tampa Bay. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Football is a complex game, but it's also simple. I believe in Tampa Bay because they believe in me.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna take.
Today's the real hot day. Dang, it's cooking this, cooking this, cooking this, cooking. Gotta get them buds dropped. Turn me up, K. Yeah.
Bucks on 3, Bucks on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Bucks.
We love y'all.
Damn, got a noggin, ain't it? Oh. Oh, hey! Oh! Yeah. QB1. Oh. My bad. Let's have a good day, man. Let's fly around, man. Have fun, communicate. Oh, be on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Who wants fudge?
That just quenched my thirst. Yes! Vita, Vega, we have to turn up. Oh, yeah. We got to whoop their ass. I ain't going to lie. There you go, Jose. Yeah, Jose. Yeah, Jose. They yanked it off. That's a sack! 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 Pissing everybody off. Sack!
Welcome back into Training Camp Report presented by Advent Health. Casey Phillips here, now joined by Bucs legend Dexter Jackson, Super Bowl MVP. Kind of a big deal. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, no problem, Casey. Thanks for having me.
And day one of camp, what is it like for you to be out here watching it, and what are the things that come back to your mind about when you were in day one of camp?
Just to start, you spend all summer and thinking about why I did not make it to the Super Bowl. So the goal is to make it to the Super Bowl. So the biggest thing is being back first day to get the team together and start talking about our dreams, our goals, is making it to the Super Bowl. And, just to be around your brothers, you create a strong bond to be around those guys again. It's just an amazing feeling.
That's great. And to me, what are the things that you're looking at out here? You're coming out to watch this team. I know you're a Bucs fan too, so
Yes.
you're out here watching to see what you can expect this next season. What are you watching when you watch training camp?
Well, being a defensive back, I feel like we have the hardest job, especially now you can't touch players, you can't hit players. But I just want to watch the defensive back play safety. So, we have Jordan back, we have Winfield, so I want to see what those guys can do. The teams that tend to win the Super Bowl have great safeties. So I want to see what.
But you're not
guys
biased
can do.
or anything
I'm
on
not
that front,
biased, but I'm just speaking facts.
Yeah,
though,
it's true. It's true.
If
You were
have
proof of
great
that.
Safeties, you can win a Super Bowl. So I want to see what the DBs can do. That's my admiration, and I love watching those guys compete.
What do you remember most for you about what you think set you up for success when you look back at the Super Bowl, when you look back at your career? What were the things that set you apart?
Hard work, commitment, being dedicated to the game, having great teammates as well. When you have great teammates, it's nothing personal. Everyone wants to be great. Everyone's trying to accomplish a great goal to go to the Super Bowl. But you have great teammates that make your job much easier.
And now looking at this team, knowing especially Todd Bowles as the coach, his scheme that's gotten to be here for a long time, we've got a good sense on it. I know that I've heard guys like Antoine and Jordan talk about the way that his scheme sets them up for success. What would you have liked about playing in this scheme? See, I see you already. You're like, ooh, that would have been fun.
Oh, I love it. I love John Lynch, Hall of Fame, but our scheme was designed to have John Lynch run day and Derrick Brooks to make the plays. Everybody else just kind of fed off those guys. But when my number was called to blitz on Fox and Frisco, that's the free safety, Fox and Frisco, I came through, made a couple of sacks. But my strength was, roaming the field from sideline to sideline, and John Lynch was a box safety, so he did his job great. But Todd gives everybody the opportunity. Each cornerback, defensive back, D lineman, everybody get a chance to blitz and make plays. So I think it will be fun to play in his system. Everybody gets a chance to make a play.
That's awesome. Well, Dexter, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of camp.
All right, thank Casey, and I wish the Bucs much success.
I love that. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and Scott and I will be back with one more segment looking at some of those training camp battles. We'll be right back.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. There's been a lot of exciting days here, sitting here at this table.
Is this Mike?
And today's no different.
Mike Evans, this is Jason Light, General Manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How you doing?
We were fired up before the draft. We're ecstatic now.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Mike Evans.
Today, right now, it's about Mike. Without further ado, Mike Evans.
Hey, let's be the smartest and damn sure the most physical team today.
I'm just really happy to be a Buc.
Whatever it takes to win, man. Don't gotta be pretty.
I really wanted Tampa Bay to pick me. I was praying they wouldn't pass on me.
It's going to be like basketball on grass. Throw the ball up.
Mike Evans, touchdown Tampa Bay, Mike Evans. Give me some love, man.
I think he's going to have some fun.
He's got it.
I never thought, come from Galveston, Texas. It's hard to make it out of there. And, I did it. All my hard work's paying off. Living out my dream.
Don't say any weird today, all right?
No promises.
Okay.
Great success. Very nice. This is my wife.
You guys are fed.
He's wired!
Baker Mayfield trench edition.
Yeah, the trench warfare. For the dirty work. Shout out to the Clouds today, though, huh? Really coming out for the boys. Straight missile and Escalade form. Turbocharger.
Can of corn, I'll be fine.
How's the dish?
Nita!
Come on, Graham. Graham cracker.
Justin! Indy!
Oh, boys, my cover's blown. Is this thing on? Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Whoop, boop, 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 boop. Beep, boop, up, beep, beep, boop, up. Chupabi Munano.
Welcome back in. It's time for our final segment here on Training Camp Report, presented by Advent Health. Casey Phillips here with senior writer and editor Scott Smith. And as always, we're going to talk about some training camp battles. That's what everyone's here to see, right?
And I have to follow up the Super Bowl MVP.
No pressure.
It's not real fair.
No pressure. That's very true. But you know what? You're the reporter MVP.
Oh, wow.
There you
Thank
go. So tell me, all right, let's start. How about slot corner? I think this is a position that sometimes doesn't always get all the glitz and the glam of some of the others, but is such a vital part of what Todd Bowles' defense wants to do.
Yeah, I've said this before. I really think we need to rename that position because nowadays, corner safeties, it really doesn't matter what position you're listed on. You can be an option in the slot. As we saw the last 2 years, 2 years ago was Antoine Winfield. Last year it was rookie safety Christian Izian. So it's an important position. It's basically a starting position, especially how much teams play on offense, 3 receiver personnel, and you always have that third cornerback on the field. He's probably going to play 60, 70% of the snaps. So it's a starting position. So who's in the running for it? Obviously, the incumbent is back. Christian Izian held that job all of last year, and he had 2 interceptions famously in the first 2 games of the season. One of them was huge in Minnesota. And, you know, he played that position well all last year, held it down. And then we drafted in the 3rd round Tyke Smith, another guy who's listed as a safety, but he has a lot of experience playing in the slot. He had a really good season last year at Georgia, one of the leaders on that amazing defense. As you see, he had 70 tackles and 4 interceptions last year. And then a player that the Bucs signed, Tavier Thomas, most recently of the Texans, he's played a lot. He has a lot of NFL experience, 22 starts, and most of it's been in the slot. So that's a lot of really good candidates, and that's good. You only have one that's going to play most of the time, but it's always good to have redundancy, especially at the cornerback positions. And, you know, Christian made it through the whole season unscathed last year, but if he'd have gone down, the Bucs would have had to have another option. So it's nice to have several options. I think that's going to be a real tight battle. Keep an eye on Tyke Smith because they said as soon as they drafted him that that's where they were going to look at him first.
Okay, and then now let's talk about left guard. I think this is definitely one of the battles that has been oft discussed this offseason.
Yeah.
And I think that this is going to be a really interesting one to just see, in general, just this new look interior offensive line, but starting specifically at the left guard position, who are the guys you see fighting for this, and some of the names people recognize and maybe they don't as much?
Right, it feels like that's the one position that's open on the line because your tackles were really good last year, and you drafted Graham Barton, and he's going to get the first shot probably to play center, and Cody Mauk, you know, he's returning. He was a rookie last year, but he started every game at right guard. But left guard was split last year between Matt Filer and Aaron Stinney, and neither of them are with us now. So obviously we're going to have a new starter there. The Buccaneers signed 2 players in free agency, veterans who have some experience at that position, in Sua Opeta, most recently of the Eagles, and Ben Bredeson, most recently of the Giants. As you can see, Ben started 24 games over the last 2 seasons at guard, and Sua on that great Eagles line. You know, they had some injury issues, and he stepped in and really kept them going well. He made 6 starts at guard last year. And you got to figure Robert Hainsey, if he is supplanted at center, he started all of the last 2 years at center for the Buccaneers and held that job down well. But if the rookie Graham Barton gets that job, he should be in the running. And then, you know, you don't expect a 6th-round rookie to be a starter on day 1. It doesn't happen very often, but you can't rule him out. And he started a lot at guard in college at UTEP, and the Bucs do think he potentially has starting caliber potential.
Yeah.
He potentially has potential.
Potentially,
Yes.
yeah, I like second-degree potential.
And could that be this early? He would probably be the long shot, but you can't count him out.
Yeah, that's true. All right, and then we'll close with this one. Inside linebacker. Now, obviously, Levante David, not part of this discussion. We feel pretty confident in assessing.
Yeah.
We think they like him. We think they're fond of him. They might start him. He's pretty good at football. So outside of him,
because there's 2 of them.
There are 2 of them, even though I know sometimes it seems like Levante can play well enough for 2. There is a second one out there. So tell me, in the wake of Devin White leaving, what are we looking at in terms of that other position? What do you think are the traits that Coach Bowles wants and the kind of ideal person to play opposite Levante?
Well, ideally, you'd like that person to be good in both run support and pass coverage. And obviously, KJ Britt should probably get the first crack at it because he essentially assumed that job at the very end of the season from Devin White. Devin was out for a little while with the injury, and KJ started, and then they kind of went back and forth a little bit. But by the last game, KJ was playing most of the snaps. So he obviously should be the one first in line. But you've got Servassier Dennis, who was drafted last year and could give you some nice pass rush options and probably is pretty good in coverage. KJ Britt, we know he's a very good downhill thumper. The question is he going to be able to hold up in pass coverage? And I think they were encouraged by what he did at the end of last year. J.J. Russell got a chance to play. He was previously an undrafted free agent. And he's a guy that got some experience and had 7 tackles and a sack in his one start last year. And then even maybe Kalen DeLoach, again, undrafted rookie. You don't expect him to start right away, but maybe he has starting potential down the road. Well, it'll be interesting to see what he can do.
Yeah, and I know you definitely wrote an article comparing the idea of, I think we've heard of an undersized linebacker from Florida State before, but of course, entirely unfair comparison, but you always love when it's like, hey, it's worked out pretty well before, so that'll be interesting to see. All right, that is going to do it for us on day 1 of Training Camp Report presented by Advent Health. Again, this is just day 1. We're going to be out here every day that practice is open, making sure you guys are kept up to date with all these battles and more and everything going on out here at practice. So thank you so much as always for watching, and we'll see you next time.